This is a quick visual tutorial for the lateral 4 from 1 increase on the Skipperdee sweater by Julia Farwell-Clay. And this is, just for your information, I'm using Chesapeake yarn from Classic Elite because of the wonderful color. It's easy to see what it is that I'm doing, I think. So I'm a combination knitter, so this might look a little mysterious to you, but this stitch is essentially the same regardless of whether you are a wrapper or a thrower. So bear with me here. So the instructions say to insert your working needle, which is this needle here, between the next 2 stitches on the left needle. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to wrap the yarn and pull a stitch through. Nothing comes off the needles. They both stay there. The original stitch and the new stitch, and I'm going to slip the wrap stitch onto my working needle. So now I have these 2 stitches over here. I'm going to take my left needle and I'm going to insert it into the new stitch, so into the between the legs of the stitch, and I'm going to wrap the yarn around my left needle, and I'm going to pull that yarn back through so that I have now 3 stitches on the needle. If you can see that. My original wrapped stitch is going to go back onto my left needle, and I'm going to take my working needle and put it between the original stitch and the newest stitch, and I'm going to pull one more stitch through, and so now I have 4 stitches out of the original one. And as you can see, they sort of stack on top of each other. It's a little bit of a woven effect. And then everybody goes onto the working needle, and you proceed merrily along until the next stitch on your chart that you're going to do your increase out of. Now, so that you understand what it is that you're going to ultimately be doing, I've made one of these stitches in the previous row so that you could see what it's going to look like. And I'm working up to 2 stitches before that because this out of these 4 stitches, I'm going to do a double. Two sets of cable crosses, one to the right and one to the left, with the 4 stitches that I made. So I'm going to use a cable needle so that it's not too mysterious here. I'm going to hold that to the back. I'm going to knit my 2 stitches out of that stitch. I'm going to put the cable needle stitches back onto my working needle because that's how I generally like to do it. And then I'm going to do a cable to the left, so I'm going to put those 2 stitches on the cable needle. I'm going to hold it to the front, put it back onto the working needle, and there you have it. And I continue in seed stitch because I'm on the cuff here, but as you can see, this is what you're going to get. It's a nice lateral increase. It lays horizontally on the top of the surface of the fabric. It's terrific for, if not just in Skipperdee, but anywhere where you're doing Celtic cables that are curved at the bottom. This is a nice effect rather than having to do it over 2 rows or having to knit stitches, several knit stitches in a row to increase, which sometimes you will find other knitters will have you do. This is a really nice shortcut to that. And because you're hopefully knitting Skipperdee and you want to know what the 4-2-1 decrease looks like at the top of the stitch pattern, I'm going to pretend here that these are 2 cables that have come together and you're going to be making them all disappear back into the fabric. So the pattern tells you to slip the first stitch and to slip the second stitch on the left needle over the first stitch. And then you're going to slip that stitch over to the working needle, and you're going to take your slip stitch and stack it on top of that original stitch. And then you're going to do that one more time. You're going to pass it over to the left, and you're going to, we have a split stitch here. Let's unsplit that. And we're going to stack that last stitch onto the original stitch. So now they've all sort of stacked like you've been shuffling cards on top of each other, on top of the original stitch. I'm going to knit it, and then I'm going to keep going. That is everything I think you need to know to knit Skipperdee. So hopefully you'll find that helpful. Thank you. Feel free to send me a Rav mail at my account at Ravelry, or to send me an email, which you can find on my blog at juliafarwellclay.com. Thank you.